Hey, it's Maren. So we wanted to shoot a video today.
Hi everybody, Dave.
To tell you guys about a breakthrough that we experienced. It was about 2.5 years ago when it started. There's a project, an ongoing project here in Atlanta called the Beltline Project.
It's really pretty cool. It's an urban redevelopment thing, but
we love it. Part of the reason we love living in the city. So there was this grant project going on that if you made less than a certain amount, which was pretty close to 6 figures, that you could get up to $50,000 for your down payment in grants. And we were like, okay, let's take a look at this. And when we applied, we qualified just barely. And just barely qualified meant that we were eligible for about $20,000 or $25,000 in grants for down payment.
And so these were just certain places located in certain parts of the city, and so it was kind of limited.
Very specific.
And so we were working really hard on it because we thought this was a great idea. It's time for us to make a move anyway. And besides, we saw something kind of coming down the road at us in terms of our finances that we needed to make a move.
Yeah, we had a really nice apartment and we initially rented it at a very reasonable rate, but rents were going up really high all over.
Really high.
At the same time that interest rates for mortgages were going way down. So we discovered that we could have bought for about 2/3 of our rent, and it would be our place.
Right.
So we started shopping, and during the application process, they changed the requirements so that we made, I think, $2,000 too much.
Too much. But in a way, it was kind of irrelevant in a sense because we also applied for the financing and that didn't come through.
Right, right. So we were turned down by the Beltline for the grant process, and then we were turned down by mortgage lenders. And then we went to another program that was designed for people whose maybe credit scores weren't great.
We figured we needed to figure out how to manage our money better, maybe.
And
so maybe these people can help us.
Yeah,
but,
and it actually turned out to be designed for people with much lower income.
Right.
And so it was a whole different conversation. So here we were, 3 different
the good news is we were actually doing okay. I had a good job. It was that kind of story. It's just that. And
I had an online direct selling business that was doing really okay. So yeah. And then.
Yeah. Well.
So it looked like we were going to have to move because we couldn't afford how much the rent was going up, which was a significant chunk of money, and so we weren't able to buy, we thought, and so we went and rents were going up everywhere. So
basically, we shopped for an apartment that would be a lot cheaper, and shopped because we were getting turned down for mortgages and we had to make a move. And so eventually we found a place, and we looked at the model and we thought, well, it'll be okay. And we spoke to neighbors and things, and they were nice enough.
And then we went back and looked at the unit that we were to take. It was supposed to be clean and move-in ready. And
what's so strange about this time is we were distressed, and something strange happened right at the same time all this was going on. Maren had some sort of a reaction with her hands, where they just literally exploded. Her whole hand
they
just
blew up like clown's gloves. They were huge.
It was just the scariest thing. And fortunately, it all turned out okay. She saw a doctor, and it subsided.
And that's a whole nother
story. Week or so, but
that
same day that was happening, we went to check on this apartment, and so her hands were all agitated. And we go and we look at this apartment, and it was the worst. I'm like, do you charge extra for the dead roaches in the vestibule? Yeah.
And I don't even want to know what's behind that drywall. It was so ugly.
Cried.
Yeah.
You cried.
Yeah. Yeah, and
I felt terrible. It was like I felt like, how could I ask Maren to move into a place like this? I can't do that. And so we got our deposit back and said, okay. But now our backs were really...
But such a state of exasperation. So I just in a really prayerful but absolutely centered space said, there's a better way. There is.
There had to be.
Where is it?
Call it out. You know, we at this point we like to refer to it as engineering our breakthrough.
Yeah.
You know, we do things pretty intentionally, but you know sometimes it's just hard to scratch it out. You know, and figure out which way you're supposed to be going.
I made one final phone call. I found a mortgage broker who ran our credit and said, "I don't see a problem." And we were moved in within 60
she stays
within
after stuff.
the 35 days. Yeah, because we'd already given notice on the apartment, so we
Yep.
had to be out of the apartment in 35 days. And we went shopping, and we found the place, and we were moved. And
it was so
the
it
mortgage
was so funny
payment
because it
was
was so
half
easy.
of our rent.
Once the breakthrough happened, once Marion got that determination, you were fierce about it. You were absolutely freaking fierce. And once the breakthrough happened, everything else was clear sailing. It was like we walked into the new place.
It was crazy, fun, easy. It was a HUD foreclosure, but it was immaculate. All we did was paint.
That was it.
And everything. The place was 5 years old.
Yeah.
And our mortgage payment, including the HOA, was half of what we've been paying in rent. And the neighborhood was so pristine, clean, safe. Crime didn't happen. Nice neighbors. We didn't like living there because it was far away from the city, and we ended up holding it for 15 months and selling it at a modest profit, enough that it covered our expenses for moving there. So that was the breakthrough that we needed.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you know, the interesting part, that energy from that breakthrough 2 years ago, we're still riding our wave of that energy.
Oh, no, generating new energy.
Yeah, well,
new
that's
clarity
what I mean.
and new
It's
focus. And here's what I want people to be able to understand is that we had absolute clarity about how we wanted to live, what the circumstances would be, and what the money would be, what money we had in hand to do it, even when people were telling us we couldn't possibly.
And where are we now?
And now we own a new house back in the city.
Pretty happy about that.
Because we also, our finances turned around in that time. And not as much as we expect that they're going to. So we're really excited about being here at Empower Network.
Engineering breakthroughs. That's what we do here.
That's Marion and Dave.
Hey, if you want to find out more, hang around.
Sure.